Crypto yield farming can generally be divided into three broad categories. The first one being providing liquidity to earn returns through fees or token emissions. The second one being lending your assets on lending and borrowing platforms like Aave to earn interest. And the final one is staking either your stablecoins or other assets to earn returns on. Of course, there are more ways to do yield farming, but these are the most common ones and easier for newcomers to begin with. And in this video, I will explain to you all of these three categories broadly and how you can start your crypto yield farming journey. Let me explain to you what providing liquidity is using Uniswap, which is one of the biggest decentralized exchanges that you can use to provide liquidity on and earn impressive yields. For this, we are going to be using the ETH USDC pool as an example, which is currently doing an impressive APR of 65%. So what do you need to do to earn this impressive APR of 65% on your Ethereum as well as USDC? First up, you need to have both of these tokens in your wallet. Then you need to head over to this add liquidity option, after which selecting both of these assets, Uniswap will pair both of them and deposit into the liquidity pool, after which you will start earning your returns. But how does all of this work? Where does the yield come from? And how are you generating these returns? To put it simply, there are people like you and me out there that are constantly swapping their Ethereum to USDC, and for this exact swapping, they are paying a little fee back to the liquidity providers. This fee is then paid back to liquidity providers, and in this case, the liquidity providers of this exact pool, which is ETH USDC. Before you start going all in on liquidity pools, make sure that you do thorough research on the types of different liquidity pools. Even on Uniswap, there are multiple different pools called version 2, version 3, version 4. So before starting your liquidity providing journey, make sure that you completely understand what these positions are. And if you are a beginner, I would advise you to take a look at what is impermanent loss before you start depositing your assets into liquidity pools. Another example of yield farming would be lending out your assets in lending and borrowing platforms like Aave to earn yields on. This is arguably one of the easiest ways to earn yields on your crypto assets. All you have to do is deposit your assets into lending platforms. There are no complex strategies involved. Once you have lent out your assets, you will start earning passive income. Of course, it is not completely passive. There are a few things that you will have to monitor before and after you have lent out your assets. So how does all of this exactly work? The cycle starts with you lending out your assets to an intermediary like Aave or Morpho. Then a borrower takes a loan from these intermediaries for which they pay an interest on. The interest that is paid by these borrowers for the loan is then paid back to lenders like you and me. Let's take a look at Aave as an example, which is one of the biggest lending platforms, having a total TVL of $37 billion. But before I show you what Aave is, make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. And if there are any crypto DeFi topics that you want me to make a video on, make sure that you let me know in the comment section. Now back to Aave. Here on the left side, you could see the assets that are available to supply and their current APY to do so. And on the right side, these are the assets that are available to borrow for borrowers. Aave is live on multiple chains. So to start your crypto yield farming journey, what you can do is go to Aave, select these chains, see where the yield is highest and deposit your assets accordingly. One more thing that I personally like to do, and you can do as well, is go to DeFiLlama, which is like the data aggregator for whole of crypto DeFi. On here, go to categories. Once inside categories, you could check out this lending option, and on here you would see all of the lending platforms that are live on multiple chains with their data such as TVL, borrowed amounts, supplied amounts, etc. What I do is I personally go through these lists for maximum capital efficiency and yield. What I like to do is rotate my assets into these lending platforms to achieve the maximum APY. Now, how you can use staking to earn yields on your crypto. I have divided this category into stablecoins and other assets. Let me explain to you what exactly this means. Right now in crypto, there are multiple projects that are offering stablecoins that are going to pay you for staking them. One prime example of this is Resolve. Resolve has their own stablecoin called as USR. and the Resolve team will pay you anywhere from 4% to 8% if you get some USR and stake it for STUSR. After you have staked your USR for STUSR, you do not have to do anything. You will start earning passive income by just staking your USR stablecoin. This is relatively a very low risky strategy because USR is a stablecoin. There would be close to no volatility involved. Another such example of staking your stablecoins to earn yields on would be Falcon Finance. Falcon, like Resolve, also has its own stablecoin like USDF. Once you get USDF, you need to stake it for SUSDF, and once you do so, you will start earning an impressive APY of close to 10%. Now remember that this 10% is paid to you for just holding and staking your USDF token, which is very impressive. So if you are a person in crypto who is just sitting on top of your stablecoin, then get them over to Falcon Finance, get USDF and stake it for SUSDF to start earning over 10% APY. The same can also be done for your Ethereum by using protocols like Lido or Rocket Pool. The yield of course is not going to be that impressive, but it can range anywhere from 2% to 4%. Another option for your Ethereum would be to use liquid restaking protocols like EtherFi, Kelp, Renzo, Swell, etc. Here too, the yields can range anywhere from 4% to 8% depending on the protocol that you are using. Here staking would also be called as yield farming because you are capturing the native yield by staking your stablecoins as well as other crypto assets like Ethereum. Of course, all of the ways of crypto yield farming like providing liquidity, lending your assets or staking involves a significant amount of risk like impermanent loss, smart contract risks, liquidation if you are borrowing your assets, and other risks. Every return generated comes with its own risk no matter the type of market. Crypto is also same. If you are generating returns, there are going to be risks. So I advise you to do a thorough research before starting your crypto yield farming journey. And if you wish to start your crypto yield farming journey, then I recommend you to take a look at these videos.